Hey there, this is John Colker from IronHike. Today I have with us a special guest, Dr. Scott Festa, co-founder and um, recent finisher of Olympus Mons at our June event series in Mohawk Mountain in Connecticut. If you don't know what the Olympus Mons event is at Mohawk, it's a whopping 152 miles in 3.5 days. There's no flat. It's all up and down. The elevation gain is equivalent to Olympus Mons, the tallest mountain in the solar system on Mars. It's roughly 14 miles of elevation gain and loss, arguably the most elevation gain and loss of any event of this kind in the world. And Scott set a personal best and the only fastest known time at the moment of just over 60 hours and in an 84-hour event window. So with that, we're going to chat with Scott a little bit. We have some questions, and I will go off camera and we'll ask Scott some questions. So let's start with how you feeling, Scott.
Oh, I feel good. I was working out pretty quick afterwards, so I feel good.
All right. So I guess the first thing I'd like to know is, why did you try this twice?
Well, so I did it once last October, and it was just a bad weather. Things you don't think about. And so it had rained probably 5 days prior to us going out there at this event, and I couldn't keep my feet dry. I literally got trench foot, and I had a blister on every toe, and then on my feet as well. And so it was I did like 80 miles, and I couldn't get my feet dry, and it was just one of those things that untangible things that you don't think about, and yeah, that's what got me. It was the small things.
So you DNF'd last September,
Hmm.
early
Yeah.
October. That was our inaugural series, and then you vowed to come back. And I'm curious, for the people viewing that don't know you, are you an ultra marathoner, or are you like a long distance athlete at the
No,
moment?
man, I'm just a regular guy, and I just like doing something once a year that really pushes my body. And but yeah, as far as like an ultra anything, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just a regular guy.
But yeah, you have a background in long distance hiking. You did a through hike of the AT once, right?
Well, this is true, but that doesn't make me an endurance athlete. It just makes me someone who walked every day for 90 days, right?
I see.
And so, but I don't consider myself an endurance athlete. I consider myself a regular guy, but I'm just chock full of discipline, and I'm chock full of like I want to get something done. So when you say like I'm the first person who completed Olympus Mons, that is true, but I am also the first person who did not complete Olympus Mons, as was
So
pointed
you,
out.
so you hold both of the distinguished
Exactly. Yeah, I hold
yeah,
two titles in simultaneously.
that's right.
Mhm.
So what was different this year, and what did you do differently to finish this year?
So, okay, this year, I changed the shoes I was wearing. So last year I wore a pair of Brooks Trail Runners, and this year I wore a pair of Brooks running shoes. I wore a pair of Brooks Ghost. I want to say it was 14 plus, and so I did that. And then I also went and I wore toe socks. So probably about 2 or 3 months ago, I bought like 9 pair of toe socks, and then I just wore them everywhere. And then I got used to wearing them, and so they individually kept each toe dry, and it kept each toe from rubbing against the one next to it. And those are really the two big things that I did to try to combat this. I
And of
had
course,
socks with me, and they were toe socks, and I had a different pair of shoes. Yeah.
so yeah, of course the weather, right? There wasn't 5 days of rain. It wasn't a lake at the turnaround point. You just had it was wet just during the dew point periods every day, right?
That's
But what about
correct. That was a huge thing right there.
yeah? What about a plan? Like, did you show up? Did you make a plan when you hit the ground and when you did your first look up to the summit, or like what kind of plan did you use this year? Like for those that are listening that are thinking about doing this, what sort of plan did you use?
So I was probably the night before I left. I grabbed a Sharpie and I grabbed a piece of cardboard, and I wrote on it what I wanted to do. I wanted to do 3 miles an hour or 2.5 miles an hour, and I wanted to do uh, rest 5 hours. So I was going to walk 8 hours, rest 30 minutes, walk 8 hours, rest 30 minutes, walk, I want to say 3 hours, and then rest 4 hours, and then repeat that cycle. And I think that got me 40, 47.5 miles a day. I think that's what it got me. So I took that piece of cardboard and I took it with me, right? And I still have it. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And that was my plan. When I got there, the plan changed just a little bit because of the start time. And so I implemented the plan almost to a T, but because it was just set in a 24-hour period and it really didn't matter when you started, I started at 10 p.m. And what I found was the night hiking, I could hike, um, instead of hiking 2.5 miles an hour, I was hiking 6 miles or 7 miles in uh 2 hours. Right.
Yeah,
So
so
I was
well over 3.
right. And I was getting that done because of it just wasn't hot. And then I had to adjust my sleep pattern a little bit. And so now I was sleeping from like noon to 4 p.m. Or that's kind of when I was doing that to kind of get out of that heat, because the heat just, whatever the cool night gave me, the heat took away.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So how did you handle the mind-numbing reality of up, down, up, down, up, down, no flat? Here I go again. Like, did that ever become a factor?
No, no, not at all. Whenever I'm doing anything and I have to be doing something for a long time, I'm either typically running scenarios in my head of just life in general, things that I want to do next, or I'm doing math in my head, quite honestly, or I'm just listening to music and I'm not thinking about a thing. But I'm more often than not, as nerdy as that sounds, I'm doing math in my head, and I'm trying to figure out. What my pace is, what this is, what that is. And then sometimes I'm just figuring out stupid things like, if I were to take, how many steps does it take me to go from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain? And if I were to multiply that by whatever, and to come up with some aberrant number that means absolutely nothing, but it keeps my mind busy. Really.
Right. So basically, you're occupying your mind separate from the pain
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
task at hand. And
I'm
yeah,
just doing math most of the time, quite
that's
honestly.
fun.
I hate to admit it, man, but that's what I'm doing. And I did that on the Appalachian Trail. I did that when I whenever I bike ride. I'm always doing some type of stupid math in my head. So yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
So listen, as one of the original co-founding group here of the company, would you like to see some world-class ultra athletes give this a shot? Because it's not a race. It's just an event. You're not racing against the people around you. You're kind of racing against yourself and the clock. Even
Agreed.
though
Yes.
even though we do count your 60, I believe it was 60 hours and a handful of minutes and some seconds as kind of the fastest known time. It's not real. It's a thing, but it's not really a thing because it's not a race. But we
Right.
can attest to the fact that it was 60 hours, and I'd love to see somebody come and shatter that, quite frankly.
So I think, thank you for the confidence booster there, Friday. But the truth is, like, all records are meant to be broken. I'm a regular guy. I've held a couple of records in my life for some other things, and I'm sure I've never gone back to look and see if I still own them, because I doubt that I do. Every record's meant to be broken, and I would love to see an ultra athlete of some sort just come out here and just shatter it, right? I'd like to see how I stand up. Like, oh, they did it in like 59 hours. All right, man. I'm doing pretty good in my life. But I don't think
Yeah,
that'll be the case. I think someone's going to come along and do it in, let's see, 90. So 90, 1/3. So I did it in 60. I bet someone's going to come along and do it in like 20 hours.
really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
just
and
based
run
off
and run and run the whole thing, right?
well,
Someone's gonna run
so
the whole thing.
I did the Appalachian Trail in 90 days, and like currently I think it's right about 30 days that
The record.
the fastest known time is. So I'm just going by that, like, one third of what I did is probably a safe bet. So if I did it in 60 hours, somebody should be doing it in 20, which is just going to be phenomenal. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, I hope they show up. I'd love to see it myself.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I also wanted to mention, as you know, I want to mention to the listeners, the viewers, that every one of our, so we have 5 signature mountains and in our event series, and Olympus Mons is the most extreme. We also all the way down to Klingman's Dome. We've got something for everybody, and we also you can chop it up into a trail buddy. Really, if you wanted to try Olympus Mons, but you didn't feel you could do the whole thing, you could bring a buddy and chop the laps and the hours and the mileage up. I just wanted to mention that to people that might be watching. We try to make everything as accessible as possible. And like in Scott's case, in your case, you want it to go alone, most extreme. That was the limit you wanted to push. But for other people, they can push any limit they'd like, right down to 1/4 of a 15-mile day on the single day event, right?
Yeah, I think that's great. Truth be known, I didn't know that I could break it up. If I would have, I would have only done one lap and let someone else do the rest and taken the credit. That's crazy
The
talk.
121, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
121.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I think I think the individual effort's gone noted though.
But
So
the truth is, I think that it is really a great thing. Like if you were going to do some type of team building event for your office, or you were going to do just like some buddies just hiking, um, like the group that goes out hiking once a year, um, four guys, it breaks it up, or four participants, then they break it up. I think that would be I like the way that sounds, and I don't think that I'm going to do another event like this unless I do it with a team.
does that mean you're not going to try to best your record in October?
Oh, no, 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 no.
No,
No, someone else is going to do
you're
that.
good.
Um, it would probably be too soon for me to try to do that physically, I would imagine. I don't know. But uh I don't know that I'm not doing one in October. Like I might do a smaller one, or I'll be out there, and if somebody wants to walk a lap, and or if it's somebody's last lap and I'm like, hey, let me help, let me walk with you on your last lap, just to kind of,
Outstanding.
yeah, just to kind of get that cohesion, that team spirit going. But yeah, that's going to
So
be the gist of it.
it's a phenomenal achievement, and we all enjoyed witnessing it. It was quite amazing. I remember many hours that you looked like a zombie, and other hours you looked like you were having the time of your life. And so it looked like it was very demanding and a lot of fun. And so, do you have any parting words as we wrap up? To anyone that's thinking about doing this, or whether they're the most elite person who's going to try to shatter your mark, or whether it's a team of people trying to do just the single day event. Like, what advice would you give them, since you have the highest standard right now as a participant?
Well, strictly speaking, as a world record holder, Um,
Correct.
I
Correct.
will tell you that you can do this. That's the biggest thing. You can do this. If you put one foot in front of the other, um, you will get where you're going in life. And it's this that's not a metaphor. That is anything that you do. If you just keep going, you can do this. And it's a lot of fun to do it with other people. So that's what I'll say, man. Yeah, if you think you can't do it, you're correct. If you think you can do it, you're correct. You can do this, and it's a lot of fun. It is. It's a lot of fun.
All right, Scott, we appreciate you. Again, congratulations on the achievement. And we will see you out there in October, cheering others on. And thanks again.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.
Take care.
All right. Let me see. Stop recording.